everybody. Here we go on a Wednesday morning. It is that day and that time. It's time for your Berkshire Hathaway bi-weekly podcast. Been a while since he's been in the studio, but he's back. Realty expert Adam Helgeson. We'll talk with him right after this.
What would tomorrow look like if you sold your house today? Maybe you'd move to a new city or a new country. Maybe you'd pick up birding or birdies. You could get into wine. Not that into wine. Or skiing. Warmer skiing. Or maybe you'd spend more time doing nothing at all. When you're ready for whatever comes next, we'll be ready to help you get there. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.
All right, he is back in the studio, and I am talking about realty expert Adam Helgeson. How are you, buddy?
Doing outstanding. And yourself?
I'm doing good. Been, 3 weeks or so since we've seen you. How have you been?
I've been busy. It's been nuts, this spring market. So
Yeah, is things starting to turn around a little bit? I know inventory was kind of low, but what's it looking like now?
It's still kind of low, but, I got like 5 or 6 listings coming up, but they're going just as fast as you list them.
Yeah,
so
is that kind of the norm this time of the year?
It's actually a little busier now. I mean, come March, end of March here, April, it usually starts to pick up, but it's been picking up since January.
Oh,
so.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I when it comes to negotiating, I'm the worst. I can't dicker, I can't bargain, I don't barter. I am a horrible negotiator.
I love it.
I still have these nightmares of like a garage sale, and you've got something listed as a quarter, and somebody comes up, will you take a dime for this? I'm just not one of those guys.
Yeah.
How does it work negotiating? There's got to be some strategies or something when it comes to the housing market.
I mean, there is. But yeah, the garage sale scenario, I've had a garage sale and I had something listed for a dime. And this guy comes up, he's like, will you take 7?
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I just have to have a pocket full of pennies.
Will you take 7 cents? I'm like, dude, if you're negotiating over 3 cents, you can just have it. You know what I mean?
Just take it for a nickel.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Just get out of here. And then, too, like when I bought my truck, I showed up an hour before close on Labor Day weekend. And they were supposed to close at, I want to say 4 that day. But 7:30 at night, it was me, the sales manager, the general manager, and the finance manager all waiting, negotiating back and forth. And finally, the GM comes out of his office upstairs and just yells, just give him the damn deal so we can get the hell out of here. Like, hey. All right.
Now, has that been instilled in you since you were young, or have you just always had that ability to, negotiate?
Growing up, we had a players dealership on our farm, so I watched my dad.
Sure.
BS and sell stuff, and always buy and sell, and I'm always buying and selling stuff too. But when you're buying stuff for yourself, it's a little different, right? Now as a realtor, I'm representing my clients.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So the biggest thing is know your clients' priorities. Understand what matters most to them, whether it's price, whether it's closing date. You know what I mean? What's our number one issue, our priority here with purchase agreement? You know what I mean? Are we willing to, okay, we'll give you full price, but we need to close in 3 weeks? Or, hey, we can wait 2 months, but we want this price lower to help meet your needs or whatever.
Sure.
So kind of knowing your client's priorities is number one. And then 2, do your research. Every house before I put an offer in, I do my own market analysis. I research the comps, the market trends, the property history. Like I see one, I actually had it listed. They bought it for $500,000. They lived there for a year, didn't really do anything, and then listed it for $850,000.
Wow.
And I'm like, there's no way the market jumped that much. You know what I mean? You're just hit the crack pipe and put a price on it, right?
Yeah.
And some agents wouldn't look at that, and they would just be like, "Oh, well, that doesn't seem too bad. Let's offer, $825,000," and the seller's happy as a pig in mud. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to know, do your homework, and then 2, also do your homework on the sellers. Like, a lot of it's cutthroat, right? Like, you don't want them to know why you're buying, right?
Okay.
And the sellers don't want you to know why they're selling, because if it's a military relocation, hey, he has orders. He's gone in 2 weeks. He needs to get this thing sold, right?
Sure.
there's probably more negotiating strategy. If it's court order for a divorce, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, sure.
If it's investor just doing a flip, right? You know what they're doing to sell or why they're selling can really give your negotiation strategies a boost.
Now, you mentioned the term property history, I think is what you said.
Yep.
What do you mean, like the history of the house, the yard? Was somebody murdered in the house? What do you mean there?
Well, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I can look up prior sales.
Sure, okay.
You know, that type of stuff. You can kind of say, okay, well, they bought it in 2016, and you can flip through the pictures, kind of look at the previous disclosure. Okay, what have they done since they've been there?
Sure.
They have
sure.
it. It's the same damn carpet, same paint, same everything. They haven't done a thing to the house, and now they're expecting to get, you know, 200 grand more.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The market
Yep.
has increased that much.
Sure.
So,
okay.
you know, there's even another site that we can use that a lot of time it ties to the mortgage. If there's a mortgage on the property, we can pull and see, okay, well, they still, you know, owe X amount of dollars for it. You know what I mean? So after fees and everything, this would be their break-even point.
Oh, yeah,
So
sure.
we can kind of play the game, you know, that way. Also, just pauses, right? Use time to your advantage. Like I just locked in a deal on a, what was it, 1.15 million lake home.
Okay.
And we weren't in a hurry, right? But we were going back and forth because they had it listed at 1.25. And we would take our time getting back to them, right?
Okay.
And the other agent was like, hey, you know anything yet? Yeah, they're still talking about it, right? And a couple days later, hey, what's the deal? You know, and just, yeah, we're still, you know, then we'd come in, you know, a little lower. Oh, no, we can only do this. And I'm like, nah, we're thinking about it. And finally, you know what I mean? We stuck it at our price and finally like, you know what? Yeah, they'll do that, right? So playing the game, if knowing their scenario and what's going on, we just played the silent game.
Sure. Kind of like it's all in the delivery.
It is,
Yeah.
you know, too. And you just don't rush to fill the silence. It's like you ask them a question, you know, even with your kids, like, hey, what do you think you did wrong? And you just sit there.
Yeah.
First one to talk loses.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
'Cause if you start talking, well, I mean, what do you think? Now you automatically lost that conversation.
Right. Okay.
So, you know, and then two, use time to your advantage, kind of what I was talking about. Leverage urgency when appropriate. If you know they're a transfer, a divorce, say, hey, we can. This is a cash buyer. We can close in, you know, a week and a half, 2 weeks, or if you have that time. Like we were just negotiating on another one, and my clients had a house that they were living in, so they weren't in a, you know, huge, you know, hurry to move because they don't need to sell that one to buy another one, and the people selling still had to find a house. So we put the closing date as to be determined. They're like, hey, take your time, find your house. We'll give you what you want, and we'll give you time for finding your house. You know, so we were it was kind of a win-win deal where we were, hey, giving the sellers what they wanted, and we still got beat up by a cash offer. But
now with the negotiating part, so not only do you negotiate with selling or the people looking to buy, but I would imagine you have to negotiate too with the people that you're representing. Maybe they want too much for their house. Maybe they don't want enough for their house. So you got to kind of come in there too, don't you?
Yeah, and like I'm going through that right now. I have a property coming up in Northwood, and it's two sisters on an estate. Mm-hmm. And I ran my numbers and came up with my price, and they're like, "Oh, that seems really high." I'm like, "I can sell it for less if you want. I mean, I don't care, right?" But the one sister's down south, and she's like, well, looking at price per square foot and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, price per square foot doesn't matter when that's only on newer construction, right? And she's like, well, one just sold down the street. I'm like, that was a split level. That no comparison.
Right.
You know? And I was like...
So they were bound and determined to take less for it.
Yeah, and she's like, well, I mean, I don't really know the market up there. I'm like, exactly. That's why you hired me.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to question every move I do... Right? Mm-hmm. Find someone else because I don't have time.
Yep.
And she just kind of shut up for a minute and, oh, okay, I know you know what you're doing. I'm like, exactly. So let me do my damn job.
Yeah.
So you do have to
Did it sell?
I haven't even listed it yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, but we have a showing today and it's not even listed. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Also, we have to tell your clients to be willing to walk away. I was negotiating on one up by Thief River Falls, and kind of the situation. They bought it 2 years ago, didn't do a thing to it, and they're asking almost $100,000 more than they paid for it. And we're like, hey, it's worth it. They got a deal on the house, right? Money's not made on the sale; it's made on the buy. You got to buy it cheap to make money. So I'm not holding that against them, but they wouldn't even negotiate. Like, we came in full price, but we wanted them to cover our closing costs of $8,000. They're like, nope.
Really?
I'm like, you're still walking away with like a $90,000 profit.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. In 2 years?
Yeah. So we're like, no, that's kind of our offer. And they're like, well, I played the game. So we did $260 with $8,000 towards closing, right?
Oh, okay.
And they said, nope, she's not paying that much in closing costs. So then I go, okay, what if we did $252 no closing? And they're like, well, she'd consider that. I'm like, it's the same damn thing. Like, what are you like? I don't.
You just don't have to write the check. I mean, but it's the same thing.
It's exactly they're going to net 152 whether
Right.
we offer them 160 and they pay closing or so. I don't get it.
I mean, I had freshman math as a senior, and I could figure that out.
Yeah. But we went back and forth, and then my clients are like, no, we're done. We just walked away. I mean, you can't get that set on a house to overpay for it and do a bad financial decision. Had a big conversation with a young man still in tech school at the Air Force coming up here and wanted to buy a house, and from Florida, never been in the cold, and he was dead set. And by the end of the conversation, he's moving on base. I talked him out of buying.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this is not what you need to deal with right now. You gotta, what does he have, a 2-year-old and a baby on the way?
Oh, boy.
And moving to a new area, just starting out in the military. I'm like, you have so much going on in your life right
Never
now.
moved snow, never driven on icy roads,
I'm
all
like,
of that
you
stuff.
just need to live on base for the first year. If you end up liking it up here and want to stay, we will talk then.
And, you're not going to hear too many people in your field do that, I don't think. I mean, you just kicked away a paycheck.
Yeah, well, he actually reached out to someone on Zillow and had a video tour and everything of the house he was looking at, and he's like, that guy was ready to write an offer for me, and I'm like, dude, that's not
exactly.
That's not what you need. That's not what you need right now.
He doesn't give a crap about you or your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So also when you're negotiating, you control the flow of information, be selective what you disclose and when. And share only what strengths you want in your position. That's going to say. And you don't want them to know, hey, we need a house next week, like we're in desperate need. Otherwise, they're going to use that against us. Type of scenario. So we have to be very cautious what we say. I even tell my clients to be very cautious when you go to open houses. Open houses, the realtor that has the house listed for sale is working the open house. You go in there and say, hey, yeah, we're pre-approved for $350. This is a beautiful house. Yeah, we'll talk to our agent. And now you come to me, and I'm like, that's overpriced. Let's offer $300. That agent now already knows you're approved for $350.
Right,
and is obligated. They're obligated to use that information against you. So just be careful what you say. I actually had a client that walked into an open house, and the realtor working it said, hi, how are you? And he put his head down and said, my agent told me not to talk to you, and just walked right past him. And they called me afterwards just laughing like, damn, you really prep your clients, don't you? I'm like, well, I'm not. I didn't say he can't talk to you, but he took it to the extreme.
Yeah. Now, did you learn a lot of this stuff, Adam, the hard way?
I learned a lot of this in the military as a recruiter. Just learning. And, me, because even you're negotiating all that type of stuff. We learn CCS, communication skills and everything. So just learning how to talk to people. You have 2 ears and one mouth for a reason.
Sure.
And another one, that we learned is to keep our emotions in check, right? Some agents I've had just one little thing goes wrong and they're, oh, Jesus, what are we going to do? This is going to fall. I'm like, just calm the fuck down.
Chillax, dude.
Relax. It's not that big of a deal. Okay? We'll get it fixed. We'll keep going, right? Just, I had one agent that flipped out every time something happened, and they were representing the seller, and the seller got so pissed at the end of the transaction. We closed, but the seller wrote like a 6-paragraph email, sent it to the board of realtors, sent it to my broker, sent it to the other agent's broker, like just putting everyone on blast. And my broker read it and goes, this is like a 6-page email just proving you did your job.
Yeah, right. Well,
it's like
that's good.
Yeah. So just keep your emotions in check, right? It makes it go smoother. And kind of what I mentioned in the beginning too, we're negotiating more than just a price. We're negotiating, what's in there. Like that Lake Home we just negotiated, they're leaving a crap ton of furniture.
Oh.
We did an itemized list and everything, it's not quite turnkey, but they're leaving dishes, they're leaving couches, they're leaving TVs, they're
Sure.
leaving, you know what I mean? So that way this family doesn't have to buy anything. And plus the sellers were like, well, we don't know where we're going yet. We don't know if this furniture will fit. So we negotiated all that. Closing dates, how much the earnest money is. There's so much stuff that you can negotiate. And small wins can lead to big advantages. So one thing I love to do on my purchase agreements is I always add a home warranty that the seller pays. Right?
Oh, okay. Yep.
And the seller's like, I ain't buying no damn home warranty. And they cross it off and it makes them feel good that they got the win. I'm like, I don't give a shit if you buy us a home warranty or not. But yeah, throw it in there to make them feel good that they're checking something off.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
We're negotiating.
They showed you.
Yeah. I had another one too where I asked my seller, I'm like, do you want the washer and dryer? He's like, hell no, I bought the set for my buddy for like $150. He's like, I don't care. I'm like, you know what? We're going to leave them off, right? We're going to say they're not included. He's like, all right, do whatever you want. And we were in negotiations with the sale of the house and we were $4,000 apart. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it is. And the other agent's like, well, do you think if we came up that $4,000, he would leave the washer and dryer for my client? I'm like, I don't know.
I could try.
I said, let me call and check. I'll see what I can do. I hung up, waited like 4 or 5 minutes, finished my video game or whatever the hell I was doing, and I called the agent back. I'm like, they'll do it. Okay, great. Yeah, if you do that, we have a deal. I'm like, perfect. I called my client.
Man.
I'm like, hey, that washer and dryer you wanted to include, I just got you an extra $4,000.
Wow,
so,
man.
Things like that.
So
yeah.
Don't be afraid to negotiate. Don't be afraid to talk with you about negotiating strategies. And it's just another one of the reasons why people go to you.
Exactly. And that's what with for sale by owners, a lot of people, you have the owner and the buyer doing the negotiations. And sometimes they feel it's awkward. Like they don't want to get in that situation or, Then emotions come into it when they hear everything about the house.
Right.
Like, well, we got to paint. We got to do this. And the seller's like, well, what's wrong with the paint color? I love this color. And then they get all pissy and then they go in and negotiate. And so it's nice to have an outside party. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Keeping those emotions in check, going back and forth, using logic, using the resources we have.
Right.
Looking out for your best interest.
Not only do I learn things when you're in here, Adam, but you also got a great sense of humor, and I laugh a lot. How does somebody get a hold of realty expert Adam Helgeson?
Well, the best way is my cell phone. It's 701-317-1750. You can check out my website, homesbyhelgeson.com. It's got all the information on there. Or call any of us real estate experts at Berkshire Hathaway at 701-746-0303.
All right, and we will be back with you again Friday morning. That is your Wednesday edition of your Berkshire Hathaway Biweekly Podcast with realty expert Adam Helgeson. Have a great day, everybody. We'll be back here again Friday morning at 10.